Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Today, we take a closer look at the stories shaping our communities and our future, going past the surface into the context, the impact, and the conversations that matter. I'm DJ Moises. Today on Beyond the Headlines, we shift our focus to the world of pageantry, specifically Miss Universe 2025. Joining us live as we unpack the truth behind this year's competition, from judging controversies and pageant politics to candidate preparation and the real influence of camps and sponsors. We are joined by Michelle Padayhag, renowned Q&A coach and respected pageant mentor who will help us break down what really happened behind the scenes and what these developments mean for the future of pageantry. Good afternoon, Michelle.
Hello, good afternoon, Sir Moises. How are you? Hello, Cebu.
So I understand that you are in Manila right now.
Yes, I just arrived from Thailand. I was in Thailand since November 16 because I had seven girls for Miss Universe and I just came back last November 23.
This then you are definitely the perfect person to have this conversation with, no? Because as while Visayas is being drenched by the rains of Typhoon Verbena, I think our social media is also being drenched by updates, by disappointments, and some heated conversations about the recently concluded Miss Universe. But before we dive into those, I'd just like to also get to know you better because I know that you're a journalist and also a PR practitioner. So, what made you decide to shift into pageantry?
Okay, sir. So since elementary, I already have that passion for pageantry. I watch pageant already. I don't know if you remember Anna Marie Sigpit. So growing up, I really witnessed her pageant journey. So when I ended my stint from the media in 2019, I realized that I still wanted to become a storyteller. So I decided to create my own team. It's called Quick Thoughts.
Cool. So, for how long have you been, or quick thoughts, for how long is it in pageantry already?
So formally, Sir Quick Thoughts was established in 2023, but I started mentoring since 2020. That's the time of Rabia Mateo for Miss Universe Philippines and Nicole Borromeo for Miss Millennial Philippines.
Wow. So, they really are the main title holders of their time. So,
Mm-hmm.
given your experiences in various pageant organizations, whether inside the Philippines or outside the Philippines, what makes Miss Universe different from all the other pageants?
Of course, like Miss Universe is really celebrated platform, Sir Moises, because first, like the fans are really invested. Second, it's like we always say that Miss Universe is like the most popular pageant in a sense that every girl should really prepare, not just in their country, but they travel around the world in terms of its preparation. And third, of course, like let's talk about, like, let's be honest, the popularity. Like the reach of Miss Universe, it's quite different. So it's been in the pageant industry for quite some time. That's why it's always a girl's dream or a pageant personality or a beauty queen to join Miss Universe.
Now, for a lot of us, we just see the pageant on the day itself, or they call that the coronation day
Or
or the coronation night. No, but how much actually happens in a pageant system before coronation night?
okay, so if you're trying to check their schedules, no, like they started or they arrived by November 2. So technically the girls had 3 weeks. So in this edition, they moved from Bangkok, Phuket, Pattaya. And it's not, yeah, I agree, sir. It's not just all about the coronation, but the girls really had to undergo, like, for example, preliminary competition, the national costume, swimsuit, evening gown. They also had their preliminary interviews. And aside from that, they also had like gala dinners. So a lot of things that happened. So technically, like that's why I shared on my social media that it's not just all about the coronation that you should consider and check in this edition. Like a lot of things that happened.
So, like among the things also that happen behind the scenes are also the influences of certain personalities and people. So let's start with national directors and organizations. How influential are they in shaping the journey of a contestant?
Of course, the role of the national director is very important because, the national director's job is to really promote and to market the candidate. That's why 4 days before the coronation, so there's what we call as the national directors meeting. Okay, so they were given updates, like how it's being done, the process. So if it's really like an advantage, sir, if you have your national director with you, because your national director will be giving you like, additional tips on how for a candidate to really succeed in the competition.
In this particular edition, we've also seen a certain conflict in the earlier part between the Miss Universe organization and also a couple of contestants. And if I remember it correctly, some of them even walked out, including the reigning
Right.
Miss Universe at that time. Is that only happening? Did that only happen in this edition, in the 2025 edition, or something similar already has happened in the past?
It's so sad, sir. Like this edition started with a controversy and ended with another one. But as far as I remember, this edition has the most number of controversies. But I hope that this will be fixed soon. So in previous years, like I didn't encounter such because I've already been mentoring Miss Universe candidates since 2020. So this is the first time that I encountered such.
And then there are also rumors that are circulating that the top 30 or the top after top 30 top 10, no, yeah, the top 30 or the top 10, they already knew about it even weeks in advance, no. So is this can okay, I cannot also ask you whether this is true or false, but can something like this really happen?
So honestly, sir, like 4 days or I know on November 16, like one of my candidates really like shared about this because like sometimes social media is quite like deceiving. So she opened up that time, but I told her that let's wait for the preliminary because I'm still giving the benefit of the doubt, right? It's very important at the same time to also give the right mindset to the candidate so that she won't overthink. Okay, so I didn't know if there's such thing like pre-selecting of 30 candidates. But what I remember is that Raul, the president of Miss Universe, like when the controversy started during the first week of the competition, he emphasized that the evaluation for the Miss Universe 2025 candidates would include, like, for example, they closed their interview, the prelims, like the NATCOS swimsuit and the evening gown. So that time when there were rumors already, so the NATCOS competition or the preliminary didn't happen yet. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because I also, at least with my limited network, I
Mm,
knew also that one of the preliminary judges even said that the top
yeah.
30 was already sealed and the preliminary competition did not even start yet.
True. Like that's why I think up until now, if you could check on social media, like the battle between that resigned judge and the organization continues. And yes, I hope that this will be fixed soon. Like, of course, it might question the organization's credibility. That's why after the competition, like there are a lot of girls that really like share their sentiments, and even some of them like resign from their titles.
So, if we take out the controversy and the rumors that are circulating around, how does the integrity of the judging, how is it on a happy path now? How is it normally safeguarded to prevent incidents such as this?
Yeah, that's why, okay. That's why there's a judge after the competition, like, really raised this thing that why there's like no like accounting or like, checking of the scores. Like, diba, like most of the time, like if the scores are in, like they would really tell, okay, like this has been like confirmed by a certain firm, right? But it didn't happen that time, allegedly. And maybe like they're considering of the airtime of the Miss Universe, like because if you try to check also on the live stream, I think they only have 2 hours. But how I wish that if talking about the integrity of the competition, like I would really love to see judges that don't have like like connection of candidates, or maybe they can choose well, like judges that don't have conflict of interest. Because honestly, like I would also feel the same maybe with the candidates that you will start to question the integrity if there are, like, conflict of interest that happening inside the organization. And for sure it will be like prevented, or it will be stopped if they would rather choose like people outside, from the pageant industry, to like maybe like half would be coming from the pageant industry and half from the academe, right? However, like most of them are coming from the entertainment industry.
So I also noticed that at least back in the past, the
Mhm.
scores of the contestants can be seen on screen. So
True.
why was that taken out? Or and is it coming back?
That I don't know, because I think that's also part of the production, right? Because this year, like, it's the production of Miss Universe is being taken care of Papanawa from MGI. So maybe there might be changes this year. So it really depends on how the organization and the host country agreed for that part. But I
So
agree. I love that part also, or that segment too, that scores, right, are being seen on the screen. So at least that the fans at the same time will know, okay, this is the current standing of the candidates that we're supporting.
and then it also protects the integrity because the
True.
scores are transparent. No? So if
Correct.
somebody's playing with the scores, it becomes visible right there and then.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Now, you've mentioned earlier that some title, how do you call that, placers or
Yeah.
other misses already started to resign, no, from either their title representing their country
Mm-hmm.
or the place that they earned during the pageant, and the latest of which is, okay, I have to make sure that I pronounce this correctly,
Wow.
no, Cote d'Ivoire, no, who
Yeah.
resigned as a fourth runner-up and Miss Universe Africa and Oceania, no. So, given all these developments, at what point does a pageant, we can really say that a pageant has already lost its credibility?
Sorry, sir. Like it cut off.
Ah,
Sorry,
sorry.
sorry.
So for developments such as this one, and I think they still continue to unravel now as the days unfold. So at
Yeah.
what point can we say that, oh, this pageant has already lost its credibility?
Okay, so like to be fair with other pageants, sir, like they still stick with their core values. Like it's like just very unfortunate that some pageants also have to evolve, right, for survival reasons, right? But yeah, that's the thing that I also tell with my mentee, Sir Darwis, that when you join a pageant, you have to make sure that it stick with your core values, because anything is unpredictable, or sometimes pageants can be unpredictable, like Miss Universe. That's why now, like before we invest or before we like continue training with them, like we have to make sure that, okay, are you really decided to push through with this pageant or not? Because if it is, then there are really certain point, or like things that will happen in the future that might not align with your values. But of course, there are still international pageants that are still, like intact in terms of integrity. Yeah. So, and for sure, that's Sir Darius. These are major pageants also.
So for Miss Universe then, and you mentioned the evolution. What does Miss Universe represent at this time then, compared to what it used to represent in the past?
So honestly, it's all about influence, power, business. Like let's be honest with that. So it's all about these three. Before, like we take a look, like for example, like the beauty, like the purpose, right? Or the overall package of the candidate. But now it becomes different, because in Miss Universe you have to work with the sponsors. So prior to the major events of the Miss Universe 2025, you can also check with the Miss Universe Thailand's page that they worked with several like sponsors. They had shoots. So now it has evolved. So now it becomes different. It's more into like bankability. So that's why business comes in, power, influence, because that's how also pageants survive.
So now let's go to the result of the recently concluded Miss Universe 2025, some reels showed that the crowd booed, no, and chanted cooking show when Miss Mexico won. No? So what does that tell us about how the public's perception of at the moment of who the winner is?
So I really respect how people or the public also like like share their sentiments about the results, and maybe like they're just trying to also not think of that time that maybe the results would be like the basis for the results would be like for the Q&A, right? However, I also shared on my Facebook account, sir, that as I said before, that it's really unpredictable. The moment that the girls, they're the top five were called, I really said to myself that anyone could win. So maybe like there would be like judges factor, but again, like it's all about how the organization sees that point. Like who is the girl that fits working with them.
So just in case you were one of the judges, no, in your opinion, did the top two, so I'm referring to Mexico and Thailand, reflect the Miss Universe standards, or did politics overshadow their performance?
Mm. Okay, so honestly, I have like high hopes for Vina to win because I like her since like even before like for 8 years already. I really like Vina, but in terms of like the performance itself, like I was really like rooting for Cote d'Ivoire, not for the top two. But of course, right? Like to be fair, also again, although Vina and Mexico really like delivered, like maybe that time it was Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast that really like like I remember her because of her iconic lines that she delivered. And aside from that, in terms of being consistent, like I always, it's very important, sir, to be consistent in pageants, right? Like from the beginning up until the end, like from the campaigns, from the performances, I always seek Ivory Coast or Olivia or the Cote d'Ivoire who really been so consistent from day one. And yeah, even Vina at first, like she did great in the first few days of the competition, but in the second week, like I felt like the campaign was not that much up until that she was able to recover during the prelims. For Mexico, like I've seen her personally, she's so beautiful, honestly, like very beautiful. But I think that maybe the organization or the judges, I was actually waiting for some judges to speak up, but however, nothing much yet from their end, like official statements, but maybe they see something with Miss Mexico that we haven't seen. That's why closed door interviews are very important. So who knows, right? That Miss Mexico was able to deliver more during the closer interviews. So it's like a cumulative scores actually. So yeah, that's it. So whoever wins, I have high respect for the organization to Miss Mexico, and I hope that she can able to like do her job well. Yeah, especially with all the bashers right now. So I know it's so hard, especially for someone's mental health, right? Like everyone is judging you, and I hope that she can still like able to prove herself after all.
What about Miss Philippines?
Of course. So even if I had seven girls, no, I still root for Atisa, right? So maybe it wasn't just like the luck wasn't on her side. Like I really believe that part, sir. Like at the end of the day, even if how prepared you are as a candidate, even if you delivered so much, if luck wasn't on your side, then like ang results. And how I wish, like now, like we're also rooting for the Philippines, like after Catriona Gray, right? So yeah, it's all about luck because I've seen her performance. Like I really like Atisa's gown, the consistency also from the beginning, and in terms of the Q&A, she was able to answer also like on point answer. Although there are other girls like right who also delivered well, but yes, still all about luck.
No, speaking of luck, so I don't know if this is good luck or bad luck. So it depends on how you answer this. So how common is it? So I'm not referring to Miss Universe anymore, but pageantry in general. How common is it for a winner to face controversy right after being crowned?
Hmm. It's only common if like for example. Oh my God, move on. Yeah, so of course it's only common if people really see that you don't perform. Like for example, in the eyes of the public, they always say that you're a rightful winner if you really perform right from the prelims to finals. However, yeah, at the end of the day, as what I also shared earlier, there are really other factors to consider too. And I hope that the public also understand. In which I also feel them why they have to say that, because we always think that pageantry is all about women empowerment, right? And of course, like pageants have evolved, so now it's like a different thing.
So you've mentioned about anything can happen, no? And
Yeah.
pageant is already a different thing, no? So currently, in the current situation, is it true that organizations, and this is pageantry in general now, sometimes protect or push certain candidates because of sponsorship, alliances, or national director relationships?
Mm-hmm. That I can't confirm. But for sure, like if we try to also check, like not just in the Philippines, like yeah, in general, like most of the girls really have this like good relationship with the sponsors, because that doesn't mean it's a personal relationship, but the sponsors can see that this girl can work for them. Like it's very important to see hardworking queens as well, right? Because at the end of the day, like the organization or the pageant organization also needs help from the business side in terms of like survival and how to make sure that the pageant will run through the years.
Now, speaking of sponsorship and influence, we can also say clout. No, what's the worth of the Miss Philippines sash? No, in international pageantry.
My gosh, so popular. Like Miss Philippines. Like if you wear the sash of the Philippines, like there's like high expectation, right? That's why if you try to review also previous Miss Philippines or representatives from the Philippines, just like in Miss Universe, like they're always part of the sponsor shoots. Because in Miss Universe, sir, it's not in like not all can take part of the sponsorship because they have to consider the number of candidates. Like for example, this brand they will only choose like 15 to 20 girls. So Miss Philippines or the sash of the Philippines is a strong, we call it sash factor, right? And it's actually an advantage because again, like, considering the business landscape also that the Philippines has.
What makes the Philippines then a powerhouse country? No,
Mm,
in the world of pageantry.
okay. Philippines really, like they say, like there are three B's in in the Philippines, like beauty, boxing, like that includes like beauty, boxing, and the pageantry side, right? So like the reason that why we call this powerhouse is because Philippines really invest too much in terms of preparation. Like for example, a candidate who aims to join national pageants, like it's not just like a 1 week or 2 week preparation. Like if one likes to join, it's all about preparing like 3 months or even a year, more than a year. Like Atisa, right? After she joined Binibining Pilipinas, she already started her preparation as she eyed for Miss Universe. And that's what makes us powerhouse in a sense that we prepared our candidates so much. And at the same time, we always study the platform that the girls are joining. That's why in the international competition, when they see Philippines, they always say, my God, these girls are so prepared.
So yeah, so you mentioned also about the sash factor, no, and other biases. No, so aside from sash factor, no, what other forms of bias among judges that the public do not see?
Okay. Like maybe the hard work of the girls. Like they only see that when you join pageants, like it's all about wearing the heels, the gowns, but they don't see that it really takes time to become a beauty queen. And hopefully, like the judges and even the public can also understand that point too.
So now let's shift the conversation with respect to the space in which maybe some of our viewers are thinking about joining pageantry, no, or maybe they have children that they also want them to pursue pageantry. Just in case they are considering the pageant space, what should be the very first step that an aspiring beauty queen should take before joining any pageant?
You should have that reflection. Because joining like pageant is never an easy one. Like at some point when you're in the pageant industry already, you will really question like your purpose and your worth, honestly. And after that kind of reflection, then you also have to check if your values really align in this industry, right? And after that, if you think like you're really in for this industry, and if you also want to grow, or if you want to step outside of your comfort zone, then after that you take trainings. It's very important to really have trainings or to undergo trainings, because of course like it's really a different thing if you're really prepared when you compete. But of course like it takes a lot of resources as well for that.
Now, some of these would-be beauty queens, they also do not have that much resources, so they may not be able to join camps. So, how can you suggest, no, in terms of how they can start on their own?
Mm-hmm. So honestly, like yeah, it's true that camps are really popular in the Philippines. Like most of our major titles are being produced by the camps. But if you don't have much resources, then you can do collaboration, honestly. Like there are still mentors who are still open for collaboration. But yes, there are also candidates that really want, like for example, investing too much. But if you're the type of candidate who doesn't have much resources, then at least find the right person who can help you, right? Because at the end of the day, like for example, if you affiliate yourself to someone like who only thinks about money, then money will always be an issue, even or during the competition.
What about designers? No, so what is your tip for them? No, in terms of still looking competitive on stage? No.
Mm. Okay, so of course, I have high respect for how these designers create their pieces, and have worked with a lot of popular designers in the country. Like for example, Rian Fernandez, right? So Rian Fernandez is like I really look up to him so much. And second, like Patrick Isorena for the national costume. So in terms of tips, like
How
maybe
can a
like
pageant nobody approach them?
yeah. Like for example, like ako ha, I'm very like if I see my candidate like very potential, and at the same time like really wanting to work with them, so I really make a way to introduce them to these people, and maybe ask for like like collab in the future, because maybe if they have candidates too that we can work on, then I can also give my services for free. Like yeah, like, there are also situations or circumstances like that, but it really depends also of like the agreement within. Like it's like we experienced that before. Like I have a candidate like who also wants to work with them, and same as them who also wants to work with us, so we just agree, we meet halfway.
Now, for the pageants, the major pageants in Cebu, so let's start in Cebu. How far in advance should a candidate prepare? Just the major pageants in Cebu.
In fairness ha, like in Cebu, girls are now preparing like in the nationals. Like that, yeah, that is something that I really observe. Even if they're just joining in the like the town pageant, like they really see it like they're already preparing for the national pageant. That's why like some of the girls that we've worked with, like they prepare like 3 to 4 or 5 months.
This
Yeah, and
is this is for the
that
local pageant.
yeah, local pageant. That's why I'm very impressed. And that's why that's the thing also that is an advantage in Cebu. Like if you try to check, then sir, like for example in the national pageant, if they see someone who's representing Cebu, they will really say, oh, this girl or this representative is so prepared as well. Because even in the barangay pageants in Cebu, like we really take it seriously. I don't know why. Yeah, like it's really now part of our culture. Beauty pageant has been part of our culture already.
So Cebu is also a powerhouse in a national space, no?
Like in kung sa Tagalog pa or in the Filipino line, they always say, la pag Cebu kinakabahan talaga kami. Because I very prepared talaga sila, which is true. And it's been evident also that Cebu has been able to produce beauty queens like, for example, Bia Gomez, Tracy, right? Like even Gabi. Like there are many Cebuanas already that made a mark in the national pageant. So it's not a question like when they see Cebu Sash. That's why whoever like wishes to really represent Cebu soon, they really have to prepare a lot.
And then, yes, you've mentioned the word prepare and preparation a lot in the course of the interview, but part of the preparation is also investment or cost. So now let's start with the local pageants, no, major titles in Cebu. How much does it cost? No? And this is in the context of telling our viewers, just in case they want to join, how much money do they need to prepare?
Okay, let's talk about okay first local. Okay, if they will consider it, for example, pasarela, Q&A, the wardrobe. Okay, the wardrobe includes not just the evening gown, but also like for example, the closer interview and the prior events, right? So, and let's also include the votings. Ani, ang voting yun. Okay, there are now municipal or town pageants or city pageants in Cebu that open to voting. So, like maybe like 300 two
That's
to
for
three
local, no?
yeah local because like you still have to consider your makeup artist, right? So you don't just tell your makeup artist thank you. Diba? Like imagine like in a town or city pageant it runs like for example 2 to 3 months. Sometimes maybe like the shortest duration like 1 month. So yeah, 200,000 or 300.
How about for national pageant?
Ah, for national pageant, oh my god. Like for example, if a national pageant runs like
No, I think something went wrong with her internet. Yeah, anyhow, sige, while Joy is eventually, or Michelle is going to rejoin us, having given her technical issue, but I think we've covered quite a good space, no, amount of data in the previous conversation. So what I gathered from that conversation with her, and we will still find a way for her to get back in so that we can continue with the conversation. But at least from what I gathered in what she's saying, the pageants have already evolved. So, like she specifically mentioned, Miss Universe, it's already now about business. It's now about power. No, so for those who are interested to eventually vie for the Miss Universe title, at least from my understanding of what you just said, this is more than just body, no, or this is just more than beauty. This is already about business also. So it's important for contestants to already prepare their social media presence and the content that they have online because it looks like influence or clout is an essential part for pageants such as Miss Universe. And then she also highlighted the importance of preparation because they go through several rounds of competition. Some of these competitions would last for months, no? So it's important also for them to have enough preparation, and part of that preparation, and that's where the conversation was cut off, is also resources. So on a local pageant, she said that the budget is around 200 to 300,000, and I'm just curious what's going to be the budget for a national pageant.
I
And I think she's back. Welcome back.
internet is quite unstable. Okay, so all right, let's talk about for the nationals. Okay, lawi basig din na nila mga appeal. Okay, so first let's consider since you're joining national, like for example, if you're from Cebu, you have to consider not just your team but also your accommodation, right? Not all girls have like for example condominiums, apartments, so you have to rent one. So for example, in 3 to 4 months, like monthly ha na condo, for example, 25. So you'll already pay like 100,000. Diba? Then for your makeup artist, like your makeup artist should be there like daily events. So like some makeup artists, like of course, like respectful also with their craft. Like some of them really ask like 300 to 400,000. Some of them like affordable, like 200, 150. It really depends on the number of days that you will be getting them. Then of course the wardrobe, everyday wardrobe, right? Like you have to consider at least like 30 to 40 to or more than 50 outfits for the entire journey, plus the gown, like the trainings, their food, the fare, the promotion in terms of their social media platforms, the votings. That's why some of them really spend like more than or close to 1 million.
Yeah, and I also heard amount close to that. No, so
Close,
it really takes so much. No, in
yeah. True.
for
So
one to succeed in a national pageant. Yes, you were saying.
yeah, so you really have to be prepared not just emotionally, mentally, but financially. Because if you're drained financially, then like that's really a challenge for the girls. Because I've even like encountered some girls before that don't have much resources, but good thing that they have friends, family, or relatives that like extended financial help to them. But how about those candidates that really want to join certain national pageants but don't have much, right? So if you're considering to join national pageants, like starting today you have to save money. Like it's very rare for like people in the pageant industry to accept, like, for example, free services, because of course, like, 3 months, it takes 3 months, 4 months. We have to be fair with them as well, right? They have their own bills to pay. That's why girls should really like consider also paying. But there are also like good people in the industry that they don't give too much in terms of their rates. Like, for example, okay, as long as you're nice, as long as you stick with the core, as long as you're respectful, okay, instead of paying, for example, 400,000, I'm fine that you can pay like 100,000, like that. So it's just a matter of negotiating and doing like better arrangements. Also, that's why you have to consider the team. Okay, it's not just all about having the best team, but aside from that, a team that can also help you in terms of considering the financial capacity as a candidate.
Now, we're talking about financial capacity, so I'll just have to ask this question because there have been long whispers, no,
Mhm.
about benefactors supporting contestants. How real is this in the Philippine pageant scene?
Okay, although there are rumors, but of course, like, it's always a personal decision if it's really happening in the industry. Like, at the end of the day, it's the personal choice of the candidates. It's also the personal choice of the benefactors, right? So, although, like, yeah, like, there's some rumors about that, but honestly, like, I don't talk too much with that thing with my candidates because I think that it's quite personal. As long as first, like, it doesn't damage, like, for example, the reputation publicly, and at the same time it doesn't also like damage or taint the reputation of the organization, as long as it's like being agreed on well with the both of them, then I have nothing against that, as long as there's no, for example, like illegally been doing like that, right? So it's not illegal, then like I will not judge these people, because, like, of course, again, these are personal stuff. But that's why how I wish, like, of course, so that these candidates will not go through these things, like it's very important to really like establish, like, for example, good support system for the girls. Like, I also understand why there are some, like, based on like what we say or what you say, like there are rumors, like there are some reports, right? But again, like, it's not their fault, because they know that how expensive pageants also are.
So, I promise I'll get out from this topic, no, but just allow me to pursue it one more, no. So, how common are inappropriate offers, no, in this space?
Mm. It's common ever since, like, maybe before I joined the industry. Like, there are already some inappropriate offers, but the good thing is that there are also girls who are so empowered that they decline, right? And that's also their like decision to decline, and that's a good thing. But of course, again, like, some those who can't decline because of some personal reasons, then again, like, I respect them too.
So, sige. And being true to what I promised, I'll get out from that part of the conversation with the next. No, so in
Mhm.
the overall, then I'm getting the impression that pageantry is really intense. So what does it take for a candidate, for example, to protect her mental health and her well-being while competing?
Okay, you should have like a safe space with you. Your team should be your, safe space, because sometimes like there are candidates who feel like their team isn't their safe space anymore, because for example, like there are things that you have to argue at some point. And at the same time, like it's very important for mentors and team as well to open like mental health like sessions, like just like we do. Like in Quick Thoughts, we make sure that we offer mental health classes with our candidates just to help them to go through the entire competition. Because again, like imagine you wake up 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. and you end your day like midnight. So you only have like 4 to 5 hours a day to sleep, plus the pressure from the fans, from the activities, like everything. So aside from having like for example a good team support system with you, is that it's very important as well to offer such classes to them. And actually it's been like helpful, like we've been doing that already for 3 years, and we're just very grateful that our girls also are very open to us, very important. And make sure that you also don't share to others, like it's very important. Trust is very important for the girls, because there are also other girls who are not confident that you share what they've been telling you, right? So like they see you not just a mentor but as a family as well.
Now, have you seen contestants also go into debt just for them to compete?
Yeah. Yes, yes, there are, but again,
I think your internet connection is
is
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
No, sorry, Michelle. Can you repeat again your answer, because I think your connection was
Ah,
interrupted. Yes.
sorry. Oh my God. Okay. Uh, sorry. So yeah, there are like behind the scenes also, but yeah, it's all about the right strategies.
So 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 the resources that are
Mhm.
required for somebody to campaign
Yeah.
successfully for
Yeah.
a title is also a lot, no? So
Yeah.
the curious question that pageant observers also like me, no, or the general public would see, because they get awarded with this large check, no,
Mhm.
during pageant night, no. So do pageants actually pay off financially for winners, or the return is just more on the exposure and opportunities, and not necessarily the prices that they earn from a particular pageant?
I think the pageant organization is also being honest with that since day one, because there's already like orientation and they sign a contract before the competition begins. So there are organization that yes gives like prizes, especially from the sponsors, but there are also like for example the one that you mentioned, that it's all about popularity, like just like giving you the spotlight instead. That's why if you're a candidate that really only aims for example for prizes, then you just have to check from the beginning if it really aligns with you. And if not, then maybe you can reconsider with other platforms.
And then I've also read, now this one is on the part, the pageant organizers. I've also heard that some franchises, they cost millions, no? So
True.
what's the return of investment on the part of the organizer that sends representatives abroad or in the national scene?
Okay, so to be honest, like I have like worked with a lot of national directors and even local directors. Like I know this may sound cliche, but there are just other directors or national directors that push for franchise just because of women empowerment, and that's true. However, there are also, for example, national directors or maybe directors that also considered buying the franchise because of business. That's why during the competition, they really make sure that they have more sponsors to get in. Because at the end of the day, like it really depends on the perspective of the director or someone like who invest in that kind of industry. And I'm just very lucky that I've also able to witness that they spend beyond, aside from the franchise, they've been even like supporting personally and financially with the candidates without not even thinking of what will be the ROI.
Okay.
So for those who are thinking of the ROI, that's where the for example the shoots, commercials, for example endorsements come in, or even events. So that's why after you win, you have to really work with the organization, and when they market you, and if there's a job for you, like for example like judging, right? Like hosting. Like you really have to work for them because that's also a way for the organization to like earn after investing.
Now you've mentioned that some organizations engage in it because of empowerment. I've also heard contestants, they would say that among the things that they get out of pageantry is sisterhood. No, but there are also stories about sabotage. No, like gowns being damaged or makeup kits going missing or heels being tampered with. Do you have any stories to share to our viewers around this one?
In fairness, it didn't happen so far to my candidates, but we always remind them to secure their things. And at the same time, we have this backup plan. For example, okay, if you're required to bring, like, for example, common, you bring one pair of shoes. So on our end, we always tell our candidates maybe bring at least three or four, just in case. And for example, with the gown sabotage, so we always have an extra gown or if ever you bring your own sewing kit with you. So as I said, anything can happen, but at least when it happens, like you're ready.
So preparation remains to be key, no, even in that space. So
Yeah.
now we're going towards the end of this interview, and it's been interesting so far. But now this is more of a tip for those who want to win in a pageant, no. Per the things that you noticed, given your exposure in pageantry through the years, what
Mhm.
separates, at least when you see somebody, what separates a contestant who simply joins a pageant and a contestant in which you can see that this person can win this?
Okay. So for example, first the one who only wants to join, no, like you can really see that this person is just like enjoying enjoying in a sense that whatever happens, like for example, he's open to growth, right? Like, okay, like I have this kind of feedback today, maybe I can apply it because the purpose of joining this pageant is just for me to grow and to know more about myself. Diba? Like mga ingana nga tendency. However, those girls who are there who really there to win, like that's what I've been telling earlier. Like they've really prepared so much. Like there's no room already to lose. So in short, like
Michelle, I think you were muted.
sorry. So, going back, like for example, if that person is only there not to win, like just for the sake of to experience the pageant, so it's just like all about like for example, okay, just tell me what that I should learn from this industry like that. Then I'm just there to enjoy and for the sake of experience. But for those girls that who are there just to win the competition, so they really prepared from the strategies, observing even the past winners, like they even include that as part of their research. Like, okay, what are the common things that these winners shared? And at the same time, these girls who are there to win it really studied so much. That's where the strategies come in, like the training, the campaign. Like there's no room for them to lose at all. So you will really know who is there to win because from the day one up until the end, there's really consistency. But those who are just there to enjoy, you will really see because if, for example, like they don't care anymore, for example, like what people say, because they're just there to live with the moment. And that's also a good thing, right? Because like it's also a way for these girls to realize, okay, like maybe this is not meant for me. So these are just girls to test if this industry is meant for them. But for those who are there, okay, I'm here to win, then like every day is really like like a crucial day for them to be consistent or even to improve. Like as they say, like know when to peak. Those girls really want to win. Every day is a peak day like that. So like there's no such thing as waiting for you to peak. Like every day is like pasabog day.
So and who among the queens that you have worked with, no, at least maybe our viewers are also curious, no, who among the queens that you have worked with you think were memorable and what made them unforgettable?
Okay, love na ko sila tanan no basig mga luod na niya ni. Okay, honestly, like when you say iconic, like Emma Tiglao. Emma Tiglao, because she's a journalist, like she already like she has this like life experiences na ba, like many experiences in life from as a host, as a journalist, as a as an entrepreneur. But still, I consider her journey is quite different and iconic in a sense that Emma was really open to growth despite her success prior to joining Miss Grand International. Plus, I've also witnessed like Emma really worked so hard. Like, of course, our other girls work hard, but said no. But like, ang kang Emma, like, that's the only time that makaya na ko mumatagtag 3 to 4 a.m. just for Emma. Like there were really moments that after Emma's events the MGI, like we still talk, we still had like exchange ideas for her speech, for the possible questions in the Q&A. Yeah, and aside from that, like other like Cebu, no? Cebu maybe like Nicole Borromeo. There's a special place in my heart for Nicole since she's my first mentee in pageant industry. And I've also seen her growth from Miss Millennial Philippines and up until she joined Binibini Pilipinas to Miss International competition.
So I think, and I think she also earned a place internationally, right?
Second runner up.
Yes. Was what pageant was that again? I think it's Miss.
For Miss
Oh,
International,
Miss
Nicole.
International. Sige, now finally for our viewers who are Cebu-based pageant aspirants naman who want to be Nicole or who want to be Emma, no? So what would be your advice to these Cebu-based aspirants to succeed nationally and internationally in the world of pageantry?
Okay. Just know, just have that vision and imagine like where would you see yourself 5 years from now? Because what you do today will have an impact in the future, right? And that's what Emma and Nicole did. They saw themselves even before now, okay, I'll be like, for example, Miss International, I can be someone who can represent the Philippines in the future. So today, I'll start to work for myself. It's very important to have that kind of vision because your vision will really fuel you with your goals. But if not, then for sure, like at some point you'll be demotivated or even like question like, am I really be meant for this industry? But if you really like for example, not just joining but really representing the Philippines, winning an international title, the preparation starts now, even if you compete, for example, 5 years from now. Okay, so it really takes a lot of long process, okay, for a beauty queen to be successful. And for sure it will be worth it. Like you can see, like for example, CJ Opiasa, right? Like there were several attempts before for CJ to join the national pageants, but it only like during the Miss Grand International Philippines that she really won a major crown, right? So sometimes
I think Michelle's internet.
yeah.
Michelle, I think we missed the last two or three sentences.
Okay, sorry. Like for
Um,
example, like going back, like for example, CJ Opiasa, she really had that vision before, even if like there were a lot of rejections, like even if she placed like even unplaced in her previous competition, but CJ Opiasa really had that vision that she really wanted to win. She really wanted to make the Philippines proud. So it's all about like not giving up of what you want. It's very important, and you just know that I want this, okay? Because at some point, like in the journey, like people will really question, like, "Wow, well, you're still joining," when in fact you already like didn't win before. So, however, that kind of motivation yourself, that if you had that vision, then it will really fuel you.
And thank you very much, Michelle, no, for joining us today. I like that we also ended this conversation with the word that you use, which is vision, because I think that's also a good perspective for non-pageant experts who are watching us, that pageantry is no different in terms of wanting to succeed, whether in business or in life. It really matters that we start with the vision. We start with the why.
Correct. Because of course, it's a long journey in pageantry. And
Yes.
like it's not just a 1 week show, 1 week event. Like if you notice, like after a girl wins a certain competition or even lose, like for sure you still have another plan, right, to join. So it's a long process, but it will be worth it. But yeah, just like we've seen already, like girls who have been successful, like Catriona Gay. Pia Works back who joined three times, right? Before winning the Binibining Pilipinas Universe crown up until the Miss Universe. So, like sometimes there will be rejections, but again, the vision will really help you.
And thank you very much. So
Thank
that,
you.
yes. And that wraps up today's Beyond the Headlines. And we would like to thank our guest, Michelle Padayhag, for helping us connect the dots in ways that matter. I'm DJ Moises. Thank you and good afternoon.